Hello and welcome to another Fenex exclusive chat, this time with Simon Monks, the Managing Director of VBH GB. Good evening or good morning, whenever you're watching. And thank you for joining us, Simon.
Oh, thanks for having me. Really looking forward to it.
We'll jump straight in, and I guess I will ask you how VBH has been after lockdown. I know you've been incredibly busy like everybody else. I guess what would you put that down to, and what would you put your stability down to? Because I know you've talked in the past about VBH being incredibly stable given the high demand.
Yeah, it has been incredibly busy, and it's certainly been levels that I don't think anyone would have anticipated coming out of lockdown to be in. We did make some decisions during the lockdown. There was a feeling that there would be a resurgence, and we were able to get that information by just talking to our customers. And when customers were saying, look, we've still got these big order books to go back to, it was like, well, there's going to be something. Now, whether we anticipated, in all fairness, it would be the spike that it has been, that's probably a little bit up for debate. But our general run-of-the-mill products, whether it's green tech or a third-party product that we distribute on behalf of, they've been churning out the door incredibly quickly, and we've certainly seen a massive jump in what I would call lifestyle-related products. So things like bifolding gearing, lift and slide gearing, Invisifold, patio gearing, and we're putting that down a lot to people taking the money that they might have done to go on a family holiday to Spain or Florida or something of that nature, and thinking, actually, I'm going to invest that in the home. And so, yeah, it's been two things for us. It's just been generally very busy, but then been incredibly busy on certain products within our portfolio as well.
So I guess to that end, would you say, or how long would you guess this would last? I mean, if things like foreign travel are going to be off for the foreseeable future, does that mean we can expect this level of high demand for the foreseeable?
I would say so. It's certainly something that I don't think we should be too concerned about just yet. If you talk again, good communication with your customer base, they're talking about order books going into the beginning of spring next year, and that to me is an incredibly encouraging sign for our industry, because we're not used to hearing that sort of thing, at all. So, and I mean, from my own personal perspective, and I'm sure for many other people listening, when those restrictions do lift, is the first thing you're going to do want to jump on a plane? I don't think so. The first thing I want to do is, spend time with my family and friends that I've not been able to as much, and that means hosting a few parties and this, that, and the other. And within that, would like to be able to show off, as every man or woman does, what we've done with the house.
That's exactly what I was about to say. There's going to be a lot of landscape gardens and solid roof extensions being shown off.
Yeah,
I think hopefully maybe next summer, next autumn, when maybe things are a bit quieter, there's going to be a lot of barbecues.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be almost a great celebration for everybody to be able to do that. So we had a little snippet of it, in the summer when some of the regs got to be relaxed a little bit. But obviously we've kind of gone back, a few steps in the last few weeks or a month or so. So I think there's going to be this sort of great relief for everybody when we're in that position. And I really don't see people necessarily rushing to leave the UK to go abroad and do this, that, and the other. It's going to happen, but I think there'll be an element of caution.
A gradual building back, maybe.
Yeah, I would say so. And from that, I think particularly our industry and certain other industries that are built around home improvements and things of that nature, could certainly benefit. And so let's
because we seem to be one of the few sectors doing incredibly well. We were talking earlier on today about how we find ourselves in this almost by fluke, but because of the restrictions and because of the routes of spending disposable income, so many of them are closed, yet we're still open. So we find ourselves one of the few sectors where people can spend all that money they've got lying around.
Absolutely, and it's, if you think about what a cultural change we've had as viewing habits maybe over the last couple of years, things like grand designs and home improvement television shows and things like that, we've already influenced Britain to start thinking about the homestead, their own castle, and about what they want to do with it. And now you've got an injection of cash which you can't spend elsewhere. And you're thinking, well, actually, it's a really good time to do something with it. So it's, despite everything that's going on, which is incredibly horrendous, there is some positives just for our industry, at the moment.
And that's where we need to find. There's a lot of sectors not doing so well. We find ourselves doing very well, and we should, we should think ourselves lucky and appreciate that for a moment.
Yeah.
Changing tack completely.
Yes.
Do you remember what Brexit was, Simon?
Well, I think it's I don't know.
Remember that?
Yeah, it's something I might be on page 7 or 8 of the newspapers these days. Once you get past everything else, it's not gone away.
Used to be a simple life. We could just talk about Brexit, and that was it.
Yeah,
no
well,
problem.
we could debate it till the cows came home. Every single day on what side of the fence you felt about, whether you were a Remainer or whether you weren't, and then obviously everything that went on, kind of got forgotten. And but obviously it's coming back. It's it's a topic of discussion now. I'm hoping it doesn't replace the "and in other news" fuzzy duck story at the end of the various newscasts where in other news we're leaving the EU and everything's going to pot. But yeah, it's back, and right now, obviously, every business in the UK is really got to be thinking about the impacts it's going to make. So,
where's as a business, are you prepared for no deal? Do you think we will still get one? Where are you at? What are you thinking?
Well, my projections of world-changing events over the last few years have been pretty poor, I'd say. I didn't believe that the Donald would get the nod as the US president at all, and he did. And I think when we first talked about Brexit the first time with the vote, I was like, "There's no way that we'll vote to leave." So I've been wrong twice. But my feeling is now is that we've kind of come to a bit of an impasse. We've got two sides of the coin. No one really wants to back down. No one wants to lose face. It's going to be a very complicated scenario to get anything agreed in terms of a trade deal. So just like we did the first time around, we prepared everything that we need to prepare for in case of the eventuality of a no deal. I still have a hope that there'll be a trade deal struck, but I think it's nice to see this time around, whatever side of the fence you were when you originally voted, and whether your opinions on Mr. Johnson, are up and down, I feel that there's a little bit more gumption about him in this scenario than we had with Theresa May at the time. And that's about as political as I will get in terms of an opinion.
And that's enough. That'll be enough to set somebody off, Simon. Don't worry about that.
I know. But that's just my opinion. At least we, there is some activity in looking out for the UK as a whole. I do feel, that there's a strong possibility of a no deal, and with that, companies certainly need to be prepared for that eventuality. And we have to be thinking about some possible implications of that, and that could be tariffs, for example, on goods, and certainly congestion in terms of getting goods into the United Kingdom. So anybody who isn't doing that now and thinking logically ahead, they should be, basically, because it's a very real possibility.
Well, that's the campaign. The government, I don't know if you listened on the radio or TV, they've got quite a regular campaign now, prompting business to do what you've just said and prepare to change how they do things. I did read a rather scary report about ports in Dover and Kent having up to maybe 3,000 trucks backed up because of, I think they're lacking people to check the paperwork. I think is that am I correct?
You're correct in that, and I think the other thing is as well is that despite some of the advice, it's not particularly clear about where the direction is going. So everybody is having to prepare, I think, for a worst case scenario, and it never hurts to do that anyway. And we did that first time around. We bought an extra stock for customers. We will do that again because my view is the buoyancy of our market will still continue post that anyway. I think that we're pretty.
So you don't think Brexit will have any effect?
Not
any effect, or will it have a small effect?
I think it will have a small effect in terms of just having to get, if you're certainly not prepared, then it's going to have a major effect. I think in terms of the day-to-day selling products in the fenestration industry to the UK market, I still think that would be, still be an affluent situation for us to be in for many months to come. But let's not lose sight that despite all the hard talk from either side of the fence, the EU needs us as much as we need them in certain arenas to have a fair trade deal. I mean, you look at the automotive industry, for example, and what comes into the United Kingdom, and there's going to be certainly an immense amount of pressure on, from companies like that for their country's leaders to make sure that something happens that benefits everybody all around. So, or at least, doesn't completely scar everybody, I should say.
No, I don't know if you'd agree with this. I think because the pandemic, I guess, has put into focus what really is important in life. I feel like some of the venom has been taken out of the Brexit debate because it's still a big issue. Don't get me wrong. And if the pandemic wasn't around, this would still be the issue.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if the pandemic has sort of put into perspective, for some people at least, is Brexit that big a deal?
Yeah.
Maybe not. It's going to happen anyway. We just got to get over that day, move past it, and move on. I don't know if you think.
Yeah, I think so. I think the pandemic as a whole has put a lot of things into perspective. In everything. I think we're at like a stage now where you could have a conversation with somebody and they would know somebody that has been affected by this virus one way or another. 6 degrees of separation is becoming smaller and smaller in terms of that. So I think as a whole, the pandemic has certainly put into perspective, even if we go back to when we were in lockdown, and you sat there as, a business leader, trying to do the best thing you can for VBH, the employees and everything else. But at the same time, I've got 2 young kids and my wife and stuff like that. And your perspective and everything changes about, what is the most important thing going forward. I do think it's certainly had people sort of take a step back a little bit and
absolutely
about the bigger picture in life.
The kids thing's a good point. I mean, I'm not too afraid or proud to admit there were some days where me and my wife were frightened. We were scared. We've never lived through anything like this. We've got our little boy Spencer in front and center in our minds. He's growing up in this world, and especially if you've got kids as well, it totally puts everything on its head from that point of view.
It does as well. And as I said, I've had people very close to me that have had the virus and are now going through a period of long COVID recovery as well, sort of 6-7 months on, and watching that from afar and how that's affected their life, even when you're coming out the other side of this. I don't know if people think that just on one day magically everything of this is going to disappear. It's not, unfortunately, and there's certainly going to be a few things left over, that we have to consider. So it does put a lot of things into perspective, definitely. But in terms of Brexit, you're right, it's here. There's no avoiding it. Best thing to do is be prepared for it. Talk to your suppliers. Get an understanding about their preparations and do the right preparation yourself.
Totally agree. Absolutely. Something more positive. You've joined Fenex, which is our the industry's first digital expo.
Yeah.
What attracted you to that offering? And I don't know if you can because you're planning for it, but are you allowed to tease what people might be able to look forward to seeing, or do you want to keep that under wraps?
I'll do a few teasers.
Okay, cool, fair enough.
That's fine. Yeah. No, I mean, it was really exciting for us. I mean, obviously this year there were a couple of big industry shows that were cancelled, that people couldn't attend, and for us as a business, we do a lot of international business as well. So getting people to come to the UK, or certainly meeting them in a different country to discuss business, you only get a small snippet of that. We built a lot of our platform when we deal with companies internationally on using media like Zoom or Teams or Skype anyway for our conversations. Otherwise, the VBH airline bill would be far too high at the moment. So we do a lot of that anyway. So right for us, for Fenex, it's really opened up that opportunity to spread what we're doing as a business, the message that we're giving, the products that we're launching, the services that we have to an incredibly wide audience. And if we're looking at the scenario that we're in now, we're all incredibly busy out there. And will people necessarily take a lot of time out to come and visit a show, or would they like to be able to watch it on a laptop or a tablet in their own leisure and be able to look at the products? And for us, that's what was really exciting about it, because in this whole period for VBH, innovation in the products that we're launching, that hasn't stopped at all. But we were very conscious that we can't necessarily get in front of everybody right now to show what we can do and know where we're going. And Fenex has given us a tremendous launch platform for a lot of those products and services. So very excited to be a launch partner, very much on board with it.
We appreciate your support.
No, it's I think it's the way it's going. I don't think there'll be we're never going to lose that personal touch with people, going out, showing products and being involved with face-to-face meetings. But if you think about the way that we do things now anyway, we've certainly moved on to, even ordering your groceries online, using things like Amazon.
We do that.
Things yeah, exactly. So, why not have an exhibition? And a lot of other industries use virtual exhibitions as well. So it's great to see that.
Yeah, it's not just us. It's totally agree. Are you able to tease anything, or do you want to keep your
I'm very happy to tease.
Okay.
So at the moment we're looking at about 8 new videos to launch 8 new products through the Fenex platform for the exhibition. And we'll have up to and over 50 product bulletins of existing products and new additions to the range. So we've just launched a lift and slide system called ClearLift, which is great for us at the moment because there is absolutely a demand for these lifestyle type products in the UK, and that goes alongside with existing range of products for us called the Aspire handle. We're also adding a couple of extra colors to our suite range of furniture. So we have the Enduro Steel, the Antique Black. I don't think there's any secret through our social media marketing. We've relaunched our homeowner guarantee, Q Secure. And we'll be talking in a lot of detail about how that can benefit fabricators, installers, and obviously allow them to sell more to the end user. And we also will have the Invicta Shoot Bolt, which is a new product for VBH, will be launched at the show as well. And there'll be a couple of other ones that I will keep slightly under the hat at the moment.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I want people to be on the stand, and I want people to be interactive.
No, that's fine. You've teased absolutely. So you've got absolutely tons of stuff to put on there.
Yeah, no, that's why I said the launch of what you guys are doing, and the fact that we're quite involved in trying to do a lot of media content these days, it works perfectly for us as a business. And if we were to have gone X amount of time again without being able to have a platform to show things, you can dilute your offering, and to be able to do that with you guys, and as I said, to get that option to be able to show it internationally as well, very easily, it's a great benefit to us.
That's a great point, and we thank you for your support, and it's great to have you on board at this very early stage. But the international point's a good one, because obviously there's a lot of companies in the UK who are not just based in the UK, they're based in the Middle East, Asia, Europe, America. This isn't just an opportunity for UK-based customers to come and have a look. It doesn't matter if you're from the farthest reaches of the world, you can see this immediately. And like I say, you don't have to catch a plane halfway around the world to go and do so.
With jet lag as well. So I mean,
there you go.
They'll get me nice and fresh.
There you go. Perfect. Going on to something completely different. I think you've come through this fairly well, this busy period. So what advice would you give, both maybe on a personal level and a business level, to companies who might find themselves struggling through high demand or through stress? Because let's be honest, Simon, we're all working a lot at the moment, and stress is important, and looking after the old noggin is important as well. Is there any advice you would give to businesses and people to help them get through what is still a challenging time for us all?
I think the big thing really for me can be summed up with the word communication. And that goes from a business perspective, because there is an unprecedented demand at the moment. So there's a lot of questions about, can I get hold of certain products? You know, what do I tell my customers, this, that, and the other? So unless you're talking to your suppliers, communicating with them, understanding their position, if you're not doing that, you're missing a trick. And you certainly need to be doing that with your customers as well, because you know, we all hear about this expectation going right down the supply chain about what is required, you know, for the homeowner, and that needs to be communicated properly. But from a mental well-being aspect as well, communication is incredibly important too. So there's, I think when you guys were doing you know, the Periscope stuff, and obviously have been doing it in the YouTube, we talked a lot about, you know, you drew in a very nice community of people to talk about what they were going through. So you kind of saw people through the initial stages of lockdown, where everyone was sat there, you know, everyone would have a beer together, people will talk. Then we started to come out of it, so there was a little bit of excitement brewing, you know, that people could see that we're starting to get back a little bit again. And then obviously, you know, as things started to take off, everyone was, you know, super happy. And interestingly enough, I guess a lot of, dare I say, old rivalries and that got put to bed. You know, people were very bonded in a fenestration community. So getting on to like talking about communication when sort of problems or stresses and that come up, I think having those platforms to talk to people and say, hey, you know, this is really, you know, on my mind at the moment. I need to take a step back. I think is incredibly important. And again, if people aren't doing that, you know, I think we've done enough through this pandemic to realize that put the old gripes to one side and just realize we're kind of all in this together. I mean, when you were saying earlier on about our sector prospering in comparison to other sectors, that's good for everybody. You know, whether they're a competitor of yours or a competitor of mine, you know, different hardware companies, different installation companies. If everyone is busy and everyone's doing stuff, that's a really good positive message for everybody. But you know, and if there is those stresses, as I say, I think the best thing you can do is talk about it. And so communication for me, whether it be business or personal, is probably the most key advice I would give.
I think that's a superb point. I mean, we started, I know you've been watching way back when we started when we were on Periscope, and my phone used to conk out because it couldn't cope with it used to overheat because the streams were going for hours. But on a personal level, because as I said earlier, you know, like I say, we were worried. I was a worried person, you know, we've never gone through this before. And I used to look forward every Friday, and I've got used to doing videos, Simon. I'm not a video person naturally, but I got used to doing the Periscopes, and I got used to looking forward to doing them on a Friday, having a few beers, talking about anything really, not just windows, talking about football or beer or where we're planning future holidays when we can. And I found that a cathartic thing.
Very
to be able to
therapeutic.
look at the comments. Lee obviously joined me on them. We'd get guest speakers in, and and now obviously we moved it to YouTube, but we've got this solid band of good industry people, which we can just chat to. I think it's fantastic.
No, it's great. You know, obviously, you know, came on as part of the community very early doors, as you were saying, from my own point of view, and ended up talking to tons of different people that I hadn't actually interacted with from all different parts of the fenestration community, and you know, it was very, you know, it was very good at the time. You know, you'd had and it still remains to be the same, because you would have moments, particularly when you were sat there thinking, this is just like something I can't comprehend at the moment. This is, you know, this is like a movie, you know, end of the world, you know, silly things were going through your head all the time.
No, I agree. Totally agree.
And particularly at the same time when you're trying to manage your personal life, as we discussed, and your business and stuff, it was very therapeutic from my perspective to be able to hear what other people were going through, and then get comments where people at that farther end of the supply chain was saying, oh yeah, you know, I've got X amount in, you know, in the books when we get back. So that, you know, that was a good encouragement for us, and that would be good for me then to communicate that back to, you know, the VBH staff to say, hey, you know, installers are saying this, fabricators are saying this, you know, it's all going to be okay once we come out of this, you know, don't worry. So yeah, it's and I think that feeling still has to remain, because obviously we're going into this second wave now, and you know, you're going to get people you know, worried again possibly, and this, that, and the other. And at the same time, you've also got people, as you were saying, with this high demand that are also, you know, stressed out for a completely different reason. You know, so it's To sound a slogan, is it good to talk? I think is the slogan, isn't it? So,
absolutely. No, I think it's fantastic. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing these.
Yes.
There is no point bottling it up. There are different stresses and there are different demands, and it all takes the toll. And if I can, and at some point or another, most of us will have struggled with the old grey matter at some point, and it's absolutely the right thing, if you can, to talk to people, share it, and suddenly it doesn't seem so bad. But I tell you what, Simon, we'll make a deal.
Okay, go on.
Because I think we all deserve it. I think when we can, we'll have a big Fenex get together somewhere in Europe somewhere, if we're still allowed, if they'll let us in. We'll have a big Fenex get together.
Well.
Well, there you go. Fine, perfect. We'll have a big get together. We'll try and meet up again properly because I think we all deserve it.
I think so.
Let's get that organised.
Excellent. Sounds very handy.
I guess last but not least, then I'll let you go for the evening. What would you say during this period has been the best innovation VBH has come up with? And what advice would you give to business when it comes to adapting? Because the business environment changes still almost on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Any advice there? But what would be VBH's best innovation they've come up with in the past 7 or 8 months?
Well, obviously, we've I wouldn't necessarily classify it as innovation, but the changes obviously we've made with the business. We've been using a lot of platforms, as I said, like Microsoft Teams and Zoom and Skype, to communicate with customers. That's gone very well. When we got to our warehouse as well in Gillingham, the big change we made recently is we actually put our warehouse stuff on staggered hours. So where we used to be all clumped in from sort of 8 till 5, we said, okay, well, could we do 7 till 10 at night? And that actually worked very well from us from a social distancing point of view as well, particularly as we got incredibly busy. We were able to do, get the guys working a little bit differently. It also brought our goods in down to be able to get our goods in booked in 24 hours, which is fantastic for us because it allows us to get the product out really quickly. But the most interesting thing for myself, and I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier on, is over time, we've all started using platforms like Amazon, eBay. You do your weekly shop online and things of that nature. So we've had the web shop and VBH for a number of years. We were the first hardware company in the UK to launch a web shop. We've recently updated it over the last couple of years. So here's a really interesting fact for you. In terms of, if we compare all of last year and this year, we're actually 34% up on web shop sales this year already. Now, if we do a year to date of the beginning of January to October, just in comparison, bearing in mind we had 3 months of downtime, we're 69% up on that. So a load of our customer base has moved over to using the web shop, and
that's fantastic.
It's unbelievable for us because it makes the whole process a lot easier. They're able to go online, they're able to search for products, they're able to think, well, if I'm buying a handle, what do I need to go with that? They're able to build their own baskets of products, they're able to do repeat orders. And it's something we've really been, pushing to our customer base for some time because, technology is advanced, the way we buy things.
Yeah.
And to actually see the guys embracing that, the customers, has been fantastic for us.
That's an insane amount of growth.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind we've had 3 months off.
I know. I took clips last year's figures already. Just amazing. We had then the 3 months off, and if you do the comparison together, we're still an incredibly amount of percentage.
That's off tier. That is innovation at work. That is, as you've just said, technology being put to work in an amazing way. Can you imagine if this pandemic had happened 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Yeah,
that wouldn't have been possible.
Well, we've got some great media content going up at the show to show people how to use it.
Absolutely.
Show the benefits of using VBH's web shop, and it's a bit of a guided tour about its features and benefits, everything down to if you're doing a tilt and turn or a lift and slide, or whether you're doing a bifold, you can actually configure your sizes in, so it tells you the exact hardware you need to buy in order to fit. So that's all be available to show for people to see, and hopefully making their ordering life a lot easier.
And this is it. That's the key thing. I think, for my take, is you've provided your customers with that ability to get their work done in a simple, quick, easy way as possible. And what you're seeing at your end is the results of that 60+% growth in a highly disrupted year. That's fantastic.
With 3 months off.
We're not even finished.
I know.
It's only October. We've got to go to Christmas yet.
I know. It's a level that, for that particular service that we offer, it's a level that I don't think I would have anticipated this year. But it's gone down a storm and continues to do so.
Fantastic. Well, look, Simon, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You'll be able to catch VBH and everything they've got planned at Fenex, with the first expo coming up at the end of November. And everybody stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. Cheers.